You're listening to the official Push Square podcast featuring Ben and Ben. Do you push square?
Hello and welcome to episode 3 of the Push Square podcast. My name is Ben Potter. I am the video editor for pushsquare.com, the greatest PlayStation website on the internet. Joining me as always, even though it's only been 3 times, is Ben Tarrant. Hello, Ben.
Hello, Ben.
How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Pretty tired today.
I'm knackered as well.
Yeah,
This seems like it's just a perfect time to do this at 9:30 on a school night.
On a school night, because we've both gone to school.
Yeah, we're studying for my GCSEs.
Yeah, totally.
They don't do SATs anymore, do they?
Do they not?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
O-levels, they went back to... Oh no, is it
No,
GCSEs? No, it's not GCSEs anymore.
Really?
Oh, this is really complicated and not interesting.
We're old.
Doesn't matter, yeah. Yeah, old.
Old.
We're absolutely old. So, lots of stuff has happened since we last did a podcast.
Yes.
We've got PlayStation VR.
That's happened.
A PlayStation 4.5 might be happening.
Might be.
Uncharted 4 has gone gold.
What's that game?
What?
What?
Okay. And today, sadly, Evolution closed its doors.
Yep.
Coming up later, we've also got a conversation with Alex Stinton, who is our master streamer and staff writer, who will be talking to us about The Division, which he reviewed. And what's Indie Bin this week?
Indie Bin this week, we take a look at Gunscape.
Very exciting. Will it remain Indie Bin, or will it be not D-Bin by the end? We'll have to wait and see. We'll also wrap things off with some questions from you fine folks from our forums, which is, I think, pushsquare.com/forums.
Yes.
And then we're in online communities. Shall we start it off with some big news points?
Let's go.
Hello everyone. Today I have some exciting news that I wanted to share with you directly. PlayStation VR will launch in October of 2016, priced at $399, 399 euros, and 44,980 yen. For over 2 decades, we've aspired to take gamers somewhere greater, and we believe that virtual reality is the next step on that journey and will usher in an entirely new era of gaming. Thanks for being with us on the journey and for making PlayStation the best place to play.
So first up, PlayStation VR.
That happened. They finally gave us what we wanted and told us price and date.
GDC.
GDC.
They did a whole little stream about it. I like how I patronised them there, just a little stream.
Little stream.
Little stream. PlayStation VR will be launching in October.
October, yeah.
It will be 349 sterling.
Sterling.
And 400 doll hairs.
Oh, 399.
$400. Now, it doesn't come with a camera. What do you think about this?
I got really excited about the announcement and then realised all of the things that I'm going to need for it. We joked last podcast about your Move controller.
Yeah.
I bet you're feeling pretty smug now.
Mate.
Mate.
Thrilled. That's why I've still got it.
And you've got your PS camera as
I've got
well.
my PlayStation camera. I think it's great for me. I don't care about anyone who hasn't got a camera. That's your problem.
I avoided those peripherals like the plague, and now I wish I hadn't.
I got the player edition of the
so you've
PS4,
got it
so I got
all-
the camera.
yeah,
I
got it
got
all
way
wrapped
too
up.
many controllers. Got a Move controller. Oh, controller! I got a Move controller. I'm just going to take a drink there.
Potter needs watering.
See, look, I can't keep up this sexy voice forever, right? The cracks are going to show and I'm tired, okay? Got my PlayStation Move. I'm very excited. And I think we're going to talk about that a little bit later on. Are we going to talk about the PlayStation VR a bit later on? Did we get a question about that?
We're going to talk a bit about
There's a
VR.
feature as well. We're going to discuss the
lots
feature
of
from the
VR
website,
actually
which is
in
VR.
this
You can't
episode.
move for VR. Can't move for VR. I've got it pre-ordered.
Have you actually?
I pre-ordered my PlayStation
it?
VR. I had some money put aside for VR, and it
Nice.
hit that sweet spot.
Yeah.
And I've got it pre-ordered.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting.
You're gonna wait?
I'm sensibly waiting. I bought PS4 at launch, and honestly,
What a mistake.
I wish I hadn't. I
Really?
actually wish I hadn't.
Okay.
There was nothing that gripped me to the point of I couldn't put this controller down for a long time.
But knack though.
I know Knack was great,
Just
wasn't
didn't
it?
just didn't capture you, right?
Yeah, didn't have the Knack.
Knack didn't go. Shut up. So PlayStation VR, we're going to come back to that in a little bit. Now today, Evolution closed,
They did.
or at least it was announced it was closed, which is really sad. Another staple of British game design.
It's horrible. It's almost becoming a regular thing, like celebrities dying in the news.
Just
game
dropping
news.
like flies. In the wake of who was it that went last time?
Fable, Lionhead.
Lionhead, yeah, that's really sad as well. Now, a lot of people saying, are there going to be any British studios left at this point? Obviously, we've still got Media Molecule.
We do.
We've still got loads of...
The Chinese Room.
The Chinese Room, not necessarily AAA games. Splash Damage is still around.
They're still
Rebellion is still around.
Yep.
There's lots of great studios and there's lots of brilliant little studios opening up all the time. So the future is bright. But obviously our thoughts go out to those who are employed at Evolution. I'm assuming they're still employed for the time being. And I absolutely loved Motorstorm on PS3.
I thought Drive Club was brutally underrated.
Yeah, it got so good as well. That's what a lot of people are saying. It got so good and it sold so many things and it did so well with all the add-ons and it was going to support VR and things like that, which probably won't happen now. It's really sad.
Yeah, it's sad. Really sad when any game studio closes because you never know what they could have made next.
Yeah, I was really hoping for another Motorstorm.
Yeah,
I love Motorstorm. PS 4.5.
Right.
What's this going to have in it?
Well, essentially, I think...
Well, we're saying that like it's a done deal. But
yeah.
What do we think this is going to have?
Because at the moment it's just rumour rumbles.
Yes,
but,
the rumbly rumbles.
Essentially, I think Sony have been looking at the architecture of the PS4 and realised that VR might be a bit taxing.
It's terrible, isn't it? Look at it. What a waste of space that is.
Weird parallelogram thing. Mm-hmm. And they're going to bump up the hard drive space, which they've obviously already done anyway with the terabyte version. And they'll be going forward with 4K support, which makes sense for VR support as well. This isn't necessary to say that only the 4.5 would support VR, but it will be a smoother and more streamlined experience for VR. So essentially, they're probably going to be going down the route of a 4.5 bundle with a VR headset and such.
That's going to be a costly thing, isn't it?
It will, but it would also be ideal for people that are still yet to pick up. I think a lot of their going forward, a lot of their bundles are aimed at converting customers rather than for people to adopt.
At least in the UK, these pre-orders have been going in minutes. For VR.
Yeah, so I mean, Amazon sold out super quick.
Popular. Have you seen the headache-inducing image that is how you set up your PSVR? And it's just got wires
everywhere.
All over the place.
It's like 3 HDMIs. You need 3 power outlets or something ridiculous, which counts me out. I'm already extension leading out of every possible orifice.
Extension league of your own is what you are.
Hey.
What sort of price do you reckon they'll be asking for that then, bundled with a VR?
Bundled with the VR?
700 quid?
Yeah, I was going to say about 750.
699? That's a lot. But I suppose if you market it, it still comes in cheaper than their rivals, and that's just the headset.
That's just the headset. Yeah, that's a good point, actually. That's a really good point.
So that's that. I'd like to think that... I mean, they haven't really said too much about it yet in terms of if there's anything going to be bundled with it, because I've pre-ordered the headset, but I feel like it should at least come with a demo disc or something. Like the what's it called? You know, the one that they've got all the games bundled into one.
Yes, the collection.
That should probably come as a standard, right? It feels like that should not be a title that you kind of like Wii Sports. Yeah. It feels like it should just come with it.
It does exactly that.
So I don't know. But there we go. That's that. We'll let you know if anything comes of that. Don't know if it will. Uncharted 4, having just been delayed by 2 weeks, has now gone gold.
What game's this?
You've never heard of it, have you?
No, not a clue, mate.
Banished. But that is a bit strange, don't you think?
It's not that strange if you think about it. A lot of the time, you'll find that these kind of delays aren't necessarily just development delays.
Right.
There's a lot more to game production than just designing it and developing it. Ironically, you've got to think the retail distribution of such a big game.
Posters and promotional Subway things.
Well, marketing would hugely come into it as well. These all have their own deadlines. They all have very strict timelines to keep, especially with retail, because that's global distribution. And as this game's going to be big, it's going to have its midnight launches and such. So going gold is the developers holding up their hands and going, right, we're not going to fiddle anymore, which means marketing, distribution, they can all come in and start doing their own thing.
Like locusts.
Yes, on a dead corpse.
Now, oh my goodness. Now, be honest with me, Mr. Tarrant. Do you reckon it's because Neil Druckmann just wanted a 2-week holiday before he had to start working on patches?
Wouldn't you?
I'd want a 2-week holiday. I'd love a
I'd
2-week
want
holiday.
a 4-week holiday.
I don't think I've had a 2-week holiday.
Oh, shall I get my small violin out for you?
I wouldn't be able to hear it. Because I'm so tired from not having been on my 2-week holiday. Now the Destiny. See,
the Destiny.
You can just swap one in for the other, except
It's
one's
basically
in space.
synonymous.
Or is it? Find out later on. Now, Destiny is supposedly getting a big update because it's due one, or at least that's how you pitched it to me. What does that mean? What does that mean, that it's due an update?
Well, obviously, once you reach the end game content of Destiny, things very much slow down. There's only so much you can do in the world before you start repeating things until your eyes bleed.
Yeah.
So Destiny drip feeds, as they eloquently put, new content to players, and
like drug addicts.
Yeah, get their next fix. The last few things we've seen have been like Halloween and Valentine's Day kind of based things that were pretty lame. But the April update will be bringing a light level increase, and it matches the roadmap idea that Bungie had laid out for Destiny, where they're going to bring in more kind of meaty DLCs to kind of push the game along before we get the inevitable Destiny 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
I don't want
10 years of Destiny, but apparently we're going to get that. But yeah, that's happening.
So strap in and get used to it.
Yeah.
You ungrateful swines. And I think that's what we've got for news, or at least those are the big points. Now, the featured feature
The featured feature
is top 5 amazing PSVR games that have us hella hyped.
Only Lord Barker
That's
would,
a Sammy Barker title. If I've
only
ever
Lord
seen
Barker
one.
would allow such a thing.
Yes, and right to the top of this article, there is a fantastic video that he made. Sammy doing a lot of videos at the moment. Pushsquare.com is where you can find this article. YouTube.com/Pushsquare is where you can find the video. It's on the
Simple as
playlist
that.
right on the front of
Super
that channel,
simple.
and you can watch it, or you can go to in fact, just go to the site, read the article, listen
Then
to
watch
us,
the video.
watch the video.
It's as if we know what we're doing.
We really don't. It's such a disaster. So he's listed the top 5 PSVR games, and as far as I'm concerned, these are pretty much the only PSVR games at the moment, right?
I get that impression. I think there's
There aren't
a
many
lot
more.
in development, but
There
a
are many
lot.
more that we know about.
Yeah.
So the title we mentioned earlier, PlayStation VR Worlds, which
Yes.
sounds like it should be bundled.
It should, yeah.
It's got the London heist thing.
Yeah.
You know that one?
It's the Wii Sports of VR.
It's Pong. It's got Pong on
Has
it.
it got Pong?
That's what it says there.
That's brilliant.
And yeah. In fact, he even describes it as it's not the Wii Sports knockoff that you might be anticipating.
Oh,
So it's
oops.
not. Get that out of your head, you
Oh.
madman.
Yeah,
But
Potter.
it's got a few games in it, I think, and that is coming out. Also, Until Dawn, Rush of Blood, which is literally an on rails shooter, because you're in a cart,
You're
a
in a-
mine
yeah,
cart, like
yeah.
a roller coaster. I wouldn't be able to handle that.
So why has it got the Until Dawn name attached to it?
Cashing in,
Oh, really?
probably.
Because
Not to say it's going to be bad, but like that's not flavour of the month. That would imply that it's bad. It's not bad. It's not necessarily Ben.
Right.
It's not necessarily going to be bad. Okay, it could be really good.
what I think of Until Dawn, I don't think of a rail shooter.
On rail shoot, no, it doesn't. It's
Doesn't
just
marry
it's
at all.
it's just their horror franchise at the moment. Isn't
Okay.
it? So that's probably why, and it doesn't go much further beyond that. But people who've played it have said it's pretty spoopy.
Spoopy.
Too spoopy, man.
Spoopy.
Too spoopy for you. It's definitely too spoopy for me. I'm going to be terrified to put on the PlayStation VR headset and just play a normal game, because even the subtle things like in Fallout 4, when you turn around and there's a player right behind you, that's
It's going to make you jump.
That's going to be, it's nothing when you're in not third person. When you're in first person, it's on your TV. It's like, oh, there's a person behind me. When you turn your head around and there's someone right there, I'm just going to be on edge, like constantly. I'm not going to be able to sleep.
I see you as a jittering mess.
Yeah. What have you been playing? The Crash Bandicoot remake.
The what? The what? Sorry?
The Wumpa Fruit. That's literally it. We've also got Battlezone, which King Barker actually did a preview of, and he said it blew him away, which is quite exciting. It's sort of like I don't really know how to describe it, like a pixely arty, not pixel art at all. What am I talking about? Just weird blobs of colour kind of thing. and your tanks, and you blow stuff up, and it's kind of like Resogun, where everything blows up into little pieces and things. He said it was amazing and it blew his mind, so that's exciting. He's also put on here, it kind of looks like Tron. That's a good point. Thank you for pointing at that. Then there's Tumble VR.
So this is just like 3D Jenga?
Kind of.
Jenga's 3D, I don't know why I
This
put
is the
3D on
What
it.
on earth is a 3D Jenga? What does a 2D Jenga look like? Now, again,
Tetris.
this is the I suppose so. This is the kind of game that Sammy loves, which is probably why it's on this list. It's a game where you stack stuff, and
Sounds amazing.
that also sounds like something that should probably be bundled with. Can you make 40 quid? Do you want to pay 40 quid for that?
Really?
No, I don't know how much it's going to cost. We're underselling all of it, really.
Yeah.
The main one that he's put here is Rigged Mechanized Combat League, which is the one where you're little robots and you run around and you shoot at the other robots, and when you get killed, you eject and fly up into the sky.
The title's a bit of a mouthful.
Yeah, rigs. I don't know what rigs. What do rigs mean? And it's in capitals as well, which kind of implies it
Really
stands for something.
interesting, giant.
Really interesting
know.
game, comma, C, question mark.
See, we weren't lying. It's great.
It's a really interesting game. C.
Oh yeah, there's mechanised combat, and it's in a league.
You could have just called it MCL.
Yeah.
That would have been
Or
good.
rigs.
Yeah, just rigs by itself.
They need us.
What's the point in PlayStation VR? What a waste of time. I'm going
Ah.
to cancel my pre-order.
You could.
Stupid game for idiots. But what do you think about that? Are there any games in particular that take your fancy that you think, I want a VR for that game?
I must admit, Rigs does look. We just mocked it, but it does look really interesting. And Rocket League was quite fun. We played it, didn't we, the other day?
Yeah, you played it for the first time.
Yeah, for the first time. I was rubbish, but I had a great time being rubbish. And I think that kind of jump in, jump out, playful, competitive gameplay is something that I think really sits with my life quite well. I don't have time to sit and play 10 hours of Fallout 4
Games, am I right?
Yeah, exactly. I can't play games. But to be able to jump in and do like a few matches.
Well, you say jump in.
Literally.
You've got to connect the cable to 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 the box to the cable to the cable to the PS4, and then you're ready to go.
And you've got to power up the generator.
And then you realise you haven't plugged in your headphones, and you've got to take off the headset and unplug the cable from the cable so you can plug the cable into the headset, and then put the headset on and then onto the headphones.
And then you get a headache from VR after half an hour.
Yeah, and then you pass out. 'Cause it's just
It's just
exhausting.
too much.
What's the point? 350 quid. Steal. None of those games I'm looking forward to.
Really?
There are no launch games.
You're the one with the pre-order.
I know. That's the thing. None of those games jump to me and say, I need that game. I need that game where I'm going to die.
And this is why I don't have a pre-order, Potter.
Yeah, well, what else was I going to spend 350 quid on? Food
Well,
and water.
Don't need that.
Essentials.
You don't pay for. Do you pay for water?
I say pay a little bit for water.
Yeah.
I only drink Evian.
Evian.
Evian. I don't drink Evian. No, we can't really say that, can we, either, because that's promotional stuff. But I just want to have it. Exactly the same with Move. In fact, I bought a Move. What game did I get with Move? I don't think I got a game with Move.
You just bought the controllers.
No,
Did you
that
turn them
can't
on
be
and
right.
prance around your room like a really excited fairy?
Mate, like a ballerina.
Yeah.
I don't need Move controllers for that, though. I'll show you later.
Oh,
Wicked skills. I don't think I bought it without a PS3 game that was a Move game, but equally, I don't know what that game was.
didn't Ratchet and Clank have some move abilities? I know it had
Possibly. There were a lot
the
of
six
games that-
axis stuff.
Killzone 3 had it, but I didn't play it with that.
Yeah.
Remember when Killzone 3 came
the
out
gun.
and they sold
They
the
had the
gun, but
gun.
in the UK it was pink because we're not allowed a gun that looks realistic?
What?
Yeah.
I want one and mount it on my wall.
Yeah. It may not be pink, but it was definitely a garish colour that made it not
Wasn't it
look
orange?
like a gun.
Wasn't it bright orange?
Maybe orange, yes.
Because that would be at least on brand, not luminous pink.
Orange? Why is orange on brand?
Hellgast.
Kinda.
Their eyes
They're
were
little
orange.
eyes, yeah, I suppose.
Come on, man.
It's more like bluey colour, though.
What, their eyes?
No, not their eyes, just the colour of the game and stuff. Look at
That's-
it. Look at the box.
We're looking at Shadowfall.
Blue.
Though.
Yeah, it's a miserable game. Terrible. Hated it.
I liked it.
Ah, that was rubbish.
I got that at launch. Hey,
Did
now
you?
know why I
So did I.
wish I
Yeah,
didn't
that
get
came
it
with
at
my
launch.
Gamers Edition
Yeah.
of the PS4.
Finished that in about 2 hours flat.
Really?
I was like, now what?
What did you do when you came, going off topic, what did you do when you came across the civilians of Helgen?
No, I tried to kill them.
Did you?
Can you kill them?
Yeah.
I did kill
I
them.
rifle butted all of them.
Yeah?
Like every single one.
Nice.
There was a guy standing there with his dead wife in his arms, and he was just talking, and
He just killed him.
He was just too quiet for me to hear him, and I said to him, "You're just too quiet for me to hear you." And I
Goodbye.
crouched and I went around him and I just rifle butted him in the back of the head.
Nice.
And I've got a saved clip because he collapses and his wife is just staring at me dead in his hands, and his arm just like just strokes her face as he collapses, like shh.
Jesus Christ.
Anyway, top war crimes in games is going to be back next week. But PlayStation VR, there are none of those games that I really want, but I do just want it, and I'll probably get that collection of games and Reese maybe.
Interesting.
So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting, all right?
Enjoy it. You
Get
enjoy
excited. Why aren't you excited? Anyway, here's Alex Stinton. And now joining us on the phone from Lichfield, Alex Stinton. Hello, Alex.
Hi, Ben.
You're back again.
I am. You can't get rid of me.
You're like a disease.
You'll be sick of my voice in no time.
I mean, the best kind of disease. You're like a white blood cell. How's that?
Sounds fine.
Biology. It's all about learning. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
Excellent. Yeah, all good. All good here. You good, Ben?
Yeah, I'm good.
Brilliant. What are you here to talk to us about today?
I'm here to talk about The Division.
What is The Division? I've never heard of this game. Please pitch us The Division.
The
In
Division.
40 words or less.
I can't do 40 words or less, you know me. I always go over the word count in the review, so I've got to go over the word count on the podcast.
15,000 words.
Absolutely.
Go.
The Division is a third-person action RPG set in a New York City that's been just almost destroyed by a super virus that's wiped out most of the population.
Oh, no.
And you take on the role of a sleeper agent, a normal person activated to get back control by shooting everyone they can.
Sounds like the best way to deal with a virus.
Does. If you've got a problem, shoot people.
Bullets. That'll
Games.
fix it. That'll learn them. Stealing bread for your family. Bullets.
And is that a nice scarf over there? Yes, it is. Thank you very much.
Bullets. Get in the ground. Stealing bread. So, what score did you give it in the end?
I gave it 8 out of 10 because I thought it was a great game. I really enjoyed it. Had a lot going for it. There's a little bit of the Ubisoft to it in certain elements, which nearly derailed things. But
That was my concern because it's an open world Ubisoft game. So you feel like
So what watchtowers do you have to climb?
yeah. How many things did you have to climb?
you don't climb anything. You stare
my
at a
God,
notice
rubbish.
board.
Oh,
Oh. So
you know,
no
I
climbing.
almost prefer to climb.
I was gonna say, I wish the towers were back because you stare at a notice board and you get all the icons on the map. You go,
Oh god.
Oh, they've robbed you.
Where are the towers? Come back, towers. All is forgiven.
Don't know what you've got until it's gone.
Exactly. So obviously Ubisoft syndrome, as it's called, with open world games, often feels like these games come almost out of a factory line.
Yeah, conveyor belt.
So
effect.
you've got your escort missions, you've got basically all the worst kind of side stuff you could possibly imagine, just littering the map. Is that the case here?
Yeah, it looks like someone's done a technical yawn all over the map, and so many icons of varying colours, and the side content is pretty samey after the first 10 hours.
Right.
You would have you've seen repetition in a lot of side content, and there's the odd bit that's quite interesting. There's some missing person missions where you kind of track someone down, and through finding these echoes of what happened from surveillance footage, you kind of track down what happened to them and get a little bit of a story out of it. So there's a little bit more to those, but the rest of it, after you've seen when you see one the first time, that's what they're like every other time. So the side content, you end up after a while going, right, which one gives me the most XP to get me to the right level for the next story mission?
Right. So are the story missions gated in terms of the level requirement?
Yeah, areas are gated and the story missions are gated. You can play them at any point, but you're going to have a difficult time because if the higher level enemies are absolutely going to just mash you up completely.
Okay. What is the story like? I played a little bit of the beta and it wasn't really for me. What's the name of the lady? Is it Fei Lao?
Yes, that's right.
She's an exposition machine. And I just felt bombarded with all this information coming from this one person, and that was enough to kind of put me off the game, to be honest. But what's the rest of it like? Does it build up to anything? Is there a bad guy? a main villain or anything like that?
Kind of. What you spend most of the time is fighting one of 4 factions that have risen up in the power vacuum, and
Right.
and you have kind of sections that deal with each of those factions, and you dealing with them. There is an overarching story that's okay. It's nothing special. But the thing that I kind of enjoyed most about story missions was not necessarily the story itself, but that the missions were a bit more interesting. They had good locations you were going to that were interesting, and they had decent encounter design, and there were also like little microcosms of what's happened in New York, and you get little tidbits about this is how things happened, and kind of that sort of bit of information which I found quite appealing in it. And as a result, I kind of felt it drove me through the entire game, and I enjoyed playing every one of them actually, and it kind of took the bad taste out of my mouth from all the side content that was a bit samey.
So tell us about the Dark Zone then, because that's what a lot of people are shouting about.
It's brutal. It really is. I made the mistake of early on going in on my own and proceeded to become the whipping boy for every group of other players that were passing through. So much so, I spent most of my time just hiding from people, picking up a little bit of loot here or there, and then trying to get out and extract it without anyone really noticing.
So do you instantly aggro every player you come across, or do people just shoot you on sight because you were a lower level?
Improved as you went on, but early on, people were going rogue left, right, and centre just to see what it was like.
Okay.
So it was kind of a case of there were points where after a couple of times where you're at the extraction zone and you've got a bag of loot on your back, and a guy comes over and looks at you and he's got none on his back, and you go, I know what you're about to do, and so you kind of move away and he follows you, and you move away and he follows you again. Damn. And then he tries to shoot you, and you end up in a battle with him. And it kind of, after a couple of times, it got to the point where as soon as someone showed up that didn't have a bag on their back of their character, after a minute or so, I'd just blow them away myself, just to be on the safe side.
So that was you going rogue then?
Yes. Yeah.
Did you ever go rogue without gear to try and steal from other people?
No, but what I did do after a while, because while I was on my own, I got so worked up by the people that were stealing my stuff that I went to the Dark Zone not to get loot, but to find people that were trying to steal loot and kill them.
Nice. You're like Batman.
I was like the vigilante of the Dark Zone. I would sit by the extraction zone, somewhere out of the way, hidden behind a bit of cover, and just wait. I was like,
Wow.
go on. You've done it right, you're mine.
Make my day.
Straight on them. But
Brilliant.
after a while, I found it just team up with other people, find a group, get in with them, and you can have a much better time. But not to say I didn't enjoy that early part. It was absolutely brutal, but absolutely enjoyable as well, because it felt, the stakes felt so high that even though the gear I was getting wasn't necessarily something I really needed, it was like, that's mine, you're not having it, I'm not letting you have it, that's mine. It was this kind of hoarders mentality, which you come near my stuff and you're going to pay. And it's a really interesting dynamic, and it's nice to see that, with a multiplayer element to a game, they've built something that fits with the setting, rather than just say, right, here's team deathmatch, stick a bow on it, we're done, sort of thing.
Yeah.
They've actually done something that's different and interesting.
And in terms of the Dark Zone being something that can kind of hold its own as endgame content, how does that kind of stand up?
I'm not sure it does. I think that will remain to be seen with what the post-release content does to it. But there's enough in the game itself to make you feel good about a purchase. It's not a Destiny where you go, huh? Is that it? Where's the rest of it? You won't get that impression from it at all. And I felt satisfied with what you were getting in the package. So ultimately, whether the Dark Zone is the best thing for an end game doesn't really matter. I felt like I got my money's worth and got plenty of enjoyment out of it.
Right.
I think that there's probably a lot they need to tweak on it and a lot they need to improve to kind of take it past this point now and into what a full year of content they've got planned for it.
Mm-hmm. So just how loot focused is it? Because when it was first announced, I think I and a lot of other people assumed that it was certainly billing itself as some harrowing story of survival in this horrifying wasteland that used to be New York, that used to be bustling with people. I was expecting, perhaps naively, something along the lines of The Last of Us, and obviously it would be very difficult to top The Last of Us, but in terms of following you and your mates just trying to survive, and there was this gritty story tale of survival kind of thing. But as soon as I started playing the beta, it became very obvious that it was all about the loot.
Yeah.
Everything's about the loot, and that aspect of Destiny is what really turned me off Destiny. So how involved is the loot?
There's a lot of it, and it most of it affects your character stats. So each bit of gear you pick up affects three stats. One affects kind of your damage output. Mm-hmm. One affects the amount of health you have. The other one affects the kind of the potency of your skills that you equip. So you get any equipment, and it usually has an armor value if it's a bit of gear, and a boost to one of those three stats in some way. So as you kind of stack those on, you can choose to build for more damage, more health, more skill power, that sort of thing. So you can tailor it towards what you want, and it's all driven through the loot itself. And there's quite a good variety. You pick up an awful lot of stuff, and there's enough variety for me to get that hoarder's mentality that made me go a bit loopy in the dark zone for a while. So, I mean, this has also got a cosmetic element where the gear you pick up makes little changes to your character, but the biggest visual changes come from these cosmetic items. So they're like windbreakers, bomber jackets, parkas, hats, beanies, that sort of thing.
Are there lots of people that look very similar?
No, there's a surprising amount of variety, but in the end of the day, it's all winter wear, so you can only get so much variety. There's no flaming beanie hats or anything like that where you get nothing crazy like that. They've kept it very rooted in the...
You wait for the DLC plan. There'll be people running around as Ezio and...
Yeah. Well, you can get the iconic Division jacket.
You can't, can you? The iconic cap?
Yeah,
no. Okay.
The iconic on day one before anyone's really played it.
How easy is it to jump into parties with other players and start messing around? Is it more fun that way? I assume it is, obviously, because that's what it's built around.
Yeah, definitely more fun with other people. I played the first few story missions on my own, and then tried one with other players and found that it was so much more enjoyable that way. When you're on your own, the combat isn't quite as tactical as when there's more of you, because different weapons, you can have different levels of pull aggro from the enemy. So you can have someone shooting at them with quite a loud weapon, drawing their fire, while you work your way around to the side and catch them from behind and that sort of thing. So it opens up a lot of tactical strategies you can use when compared to solo, because solo, you try and break cover and do that sort of thing, you're going to get killed pretty quickly in certain instances. So you end up more turtling in solo, so kind of using your skills and grenades, and when you do get into trouble, falling back rather than around. So after I played it with a couple of other players on one mission, I thought, right, this is the only way I'm playing these missions because it's so much more fun.
And what was your final time? What did you clock in when you considered it finished?
Well, I hit the level cap and finished all the story missions about 32 hours.
You mean you haven't finished all the side stuff?
About halfway through, I kind of...
That's not too bad.
No, that's not bad going, but imagine going in for just a concentrated dose of half of the side stuff.
Yeah.
Would you be able to do that?
I don't think I could do all of it.
That could be your next live stream. Watch as Alex descends into madness.
Yeah, I don't think anyone really wants to watch that.
Speaking of your live streams, Alex, do you want to pimp those now?
Sure, yeah. Over on the Push Square YouTube channel, I've started doing a number of live streams to try and get more videos on there, because Ben has been holding the fort on his own for a while, haven't you?
It's been hard, man.
It's been hard, so I've come in to save the day. My live stream. So what I'm trying to do is live stream any newer games that are coming out. So I've recently done. I live streamed the Division as soon as the servers went live on the digital version, which was a mistake because I ended up drinking a lot of energy drinks and other bits and pieces to keep me going.
Right.
At midnight our time, and then I've done Hitman, Paragon, the MOBA from Epic Games, Trackmania Turbo, which I did a couple of days ago, and I'll be doing Republic later on this week. So if you're interested in a bit of stealth action, then head over to the YouTube channel and check it out.
I am interested in Republic. Do you know anything about Republic?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Cool. Well, then you need to watch Alex Stinton's stream. What day, Alex? Do we know yet?
Not sure yet. It'll be in the next couple of days.
But it is going to happen.
It will.
Yeah,
happen.
You'll be tuning in.
It'll probably be up after this goes up, probably.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
We'll make it work.
One way.
We'll make it work, and we'll pimp you again at the end of the show. But Alex, thank you so much for coming on and talking about the Division.
Yeah, thank you, Alex.
No problem. Thanks a lot.
And your full written review on pushsquare.com.
That's correct. Yes.
This week on Indie Bin, we take a look at Gunscape. Indie Bin is where we look at the recent release of independently developed games and decide whether or not they are indie bin
Or not D-bin.
not indie bin.
They've got it's make or break time for Gunscape. So far we've had 2 games escape D-bin.
Escape the bin. Firewatch
The noose is tightening. Firewatch escaped D-bin.
and The Witness.
The Witness escaped D-bin barely. Barely escaped D-bin.
The bin's pretty empty at the moment.
Foreshadowing.
Dun, dun, dun.
Let's talk about Gunscape. Tell me, what is this game?
Gunscape is essentially what happens when Minecraft jumps in bed with a really rubbish first-person shooter.
Sounds highly sexual.
It is, right up until you start playing it.
It's one of those sexual encounters that sounds great in
On
principle,
paper.
but
You get down to it and you're like, why am I doing this?
this is terrible and blocky. And where does this go?
It takes the elements of kind of nostalgic games like Wolfenstein, Turok, Doom, Quake, and mashes them all together in little like asset worlds. So there's a main story. I use that term incredibly loosely because it's entirely played out through a conversation with a terminal.
Oh.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly like that. And you just walk through a castle and you fight some Nazis, and then you walk through a jungle and you fight some dinosaurs.
Hang on, some Nazis.
Yeah,
Okay.
Wolfenstein.
Wolfenstein?
Wolfenstein.
What about Wolfenstein? Hang on, why are we talking about Wolfenstein?
Because you're not listening to me?
So it takes inspiration from Wolfenstein, but it's not Wolfenstein.
No.
So it's literally ripping off Wolfenstein.
Yeah, it rips off the assets of all of these games.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I wasn't listening. I am listening now, though. I was just really concerned about the sound of my lap. I'm tired, alright? Get on with it. Come on, tell me about this game. I'm really into it.
So you'll go through castles filled with Nazis and
Is there
jungles.
Hitler? Mecha Hitler?
There are like robots and stuff as well.
Okay.
And it rips off the assets of all of these kind of nostalgic games of old,
kinda crazy
like
that they
90s
were
and stuff. It sounds
Able
so
to
good.
Get away with that.
It plays on them. It doesn't fully rip them off.
Right.
Like, you know that it was
What they're
Turok,
doing.
you know it was Doom, but they're not literally putting in like, demons or anything.
Okay.
It takes the idea of Minecraft as well. So the main storyline is just to show you what the assets could be used to achieve. The main meat of what you what you are supposed to do in Gunscape is to build your own worlds. You can make stories that you would play in the story mode, but the main focus of it would be multiplayer game maps. So it's kind of like a blocky, terrible Little Big Planet with guns.
Wow, that really sells me on it. Put that on the box.
And it's all community driven, and every time I've gone to play it, the community's pretty sparse.
Oh, really?
There's barely anybody about, and with that, the stream of content isn't particularly great. But your main focus is to use these assets and to build your own map. And the tools at your disposal are incredibly functional.
Yeah.
They are really functional, and I can't fault it on that respect. But in terms of actually playing it, there's very little to do. And I mean,
Really?
it's $14.99 on the PSN store. I think that's way too high for what you get, which
Really?
is essentially a toolkit.
Okay.
That's all it is. It's a toolkit that you can then play with friends if they want to play.
Does it have any local multiplayer?
It does, and it has 4-player split screen. And
Right.
I think in that respect it would work quite well. You could show your friends the map you've built kind of thing. But you definitely wouldn't want to build with 4 mates.
Right.
I can't see a scenario where you'd want to have 4 friends come over and co-op build something unless it evolved into this really community-driven environment where people would really take it seriously and stuff, like the modding community. I think if it snowballed like that, it'd be great. But I think it hinges so much on community involvement that
Right.
it's either going to make or break. And at the moment, it's looking like it's going to break.
It's a shame.
It is a shame because on paper it looks like it should be really good, but it just in reality and in practice it just doesn't seem to work.
6 out of 10.
6 out of 10 on pushsquare.com.
Stephen Telby
Yep.
reviewed it, and not bad is what it's officially described as. 6 out of 10, but $14.99.
That mixed with the reliance on the community and the really daft taped on feeling that everything else has to it, it's indie bin.
It's remaining indie bin.
It's staying indie bin.
It's the first title that is confined to the bin.
To a hellish existence at the bottom of the bin.
Oh, damn. So, that's a don't buy, I suppose.
That's a strong don't buy. Save your $14.99. Save your $14.99. Put the extra couple of quid and get a Firewatch.
Or save up for PSVR.
Or that. Maybe.
With interest, you could afford one after only 600 years.
Put it in an ISA.
Baby. Do 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 do.
ISA, baby.
Oh, it's 10 p.m. Okay, that's remaining indie bin. Let's move on to some audience questions. Thanks, Ben. Audience questions. We take these questions from our forums, pushsquare.com/forums. We're in the online community section. We're stickied right to the top, so you can find us.
Right up there.
Well easy. And all you need to do is just keep an eye on it. And if you've got a question for us after we've asked for questions for the show, just reply to us, let us know what they are.
There's a nifty trick with the forums where you can follow the post.
No.
Yep. And it will email every time someone adds up a post, so you can keep up to date with what's going on in that forum post.
So first question, this is from oh god, he told us how to say his name, didn't he?
I desperately tried to find it as well, and I couldn't. So I think it's Demeister.
It's not though.
Is
I
it not?
remember it not being that.
Well, it's Demeister. Demeister, you know who you are. Correct us.
I'm gonna have a look.
I've looked.
Meister.
Demeister.
Okay. Does VR have staying power?
That's a great question.
Yes.
You bloody hope it does,
Yes.
because you've got 350 down on
I've
this.
350, about 350.
Yeah, 350.
I've invested a great deal of my money, and that means it's going to succeed. Because when Ben Potter puts his money down on a product, it's gonna succeed, and you better believe it.
Tell that to the Vita. Ooh.
Whatever. Vita's dead, etc. Long live the king. What? Okay.
What?
So, VR at the moment currently has Facebook behind it. And I kind of feel like if Facebook is behind it, as well as countless other tech giants, it can't be a fad. Because that's what everyone said about 3D, and 3D died a death, and look who was going for 3D. Sony. Right? Sony went for 3D. And pretty much that's it. There were a couple of other TV manufacturers, but pretty much just Sony. And then when you go look at motion controls, everyone said that would be a fad. And it was. But look who was going for it. Just the console manufacturers. If it's people outside of the console space going for something as well, then that shows it's a pretty good idea. And I don't think the innovation that VR needs in terms of just being a normal game you could play without a VR headset but with a VR headset, I don't think that innovation is going to come from the console space. I think that's going to come from Oculus, I think that's going to come from Vive, I think it's going to come on VR on PC first, and then that'll change everything. It'll be like, oh bugger, we never knew that we could use VR in this way. That's crazy. And then we'll start to see that stuff come over onto console.
Right.
Because AAA game development is very expensive. And I feel like the game that's going to flip it on its head is going to be some obscure little indie thing that's going to appear on PC first, and then people are just going to take that and run with it. I don't know what that could be, possibly, but VR has such massive potential that to just play a game that you've played before but in VR isn't really going to cut it for a long period of time. So if they don't do that, it probably will die. But I honestly believe that someone is going to come up with some novel way of using it that's going to change everything.
Yeah. I think that scope of potential and the fact that anybody can kind of pick this up, any small indie developer could make their game focused entirely on VR, and they could break into some new angle to use VR. I think that kind of broad potential is what's going to keep it in the game, as it were.
It's exciting.
Yeah, it is. It's
See
very
where we're
exciting.
in a couple of years' time.
Yeah.
SKC Diamond wades in and says, when and why did you join Push Square?
I joined. My first review was Dead Island Riptide, which was a
What a treat.
rough start.
What a treat. At least you got to review a game that came on a disc.
Yeah.
I was reviewing PlayStation Minis for
So
like a year.
You're old.
Yeah,
you're
PlayStation Minis. Nice. Well,
part of the old guard.
2012 was when I joined.
I think I joined 2012.
I joined at the end of 2012.
No, 2013, mid 2013, I believe.
Old Robbie.
November of 2013, I think I joined.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
About a year later.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not too
Because
bad.
it was me, I think Ramsey, and maybe Katie, who used to
Katie
work for the
Ellis,
site.
yeah.
We all started at about the same time. And I might be
Okay.
wrong, but I think we all came on board pretty much the same time. But why did you join Push Square?
I joined because I actually wanted to go on the path for game journalism, and this was like a natural stepping stone for me.
Yeah.
To sort of you go from outlet to outlet, kind of growing the audience as it goes, and Sammy took a chance on me as a kind of budding writer, and I've since started writing elsewhere freelance. But I still...
Now you live in a mansion with a pool.
I'm a mayor of a whole town.
Just based on your PlayStation writing.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it was almost a start, really. The first proper kind of regular outlet that I wrote for.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Push Square's always been so good to me, and I've reviewed for them for a long time. And Sammy's he's one of those amazing editors that will help structure and critique your work and help you become a better writer. So if anybody is looking to start in the games industry, I think Push Square's always hiring for budding journalists.
Always looking for talent.
Yeah, exactly. So
Always looking for good folk.
what about you? Why did you join?
I was in my third year of university
Right.
studying radio,
Okay.
and it dawned on me one day that I was going to have to go home soon. And
Life would start
I didn't know what I was going to do. I don't really want to work in radio. These 3 years have proven to me how much I hate radio. I hate radio. What am I doing? So we had a lecturer who went to university with Anthony
Okay.
Dickens,
Yeah.
who is one of the Nintendo
Founding
Life crew.
father.
Yeah, one of the founding fathers, Nintendo Life crew. And he put me in contact with him,
Yep.
and I said,
Help.
what do I do? And he said, actually, we've got this other site called Push Square that might be more suitable for you. So he put me in touch with Sammy, and the first thing I ever did for them was a prototype video review, which was terrible because it was the first time I'd ever edited anything video. And fortunately, Sammy seemed to like it, and they kept me around as a reviewer, and I reviewed just filth for so long. And then finally they gave me the keys to the YouTube channel, and it's sort of just been that's been my main focus. I've sort of stepped back from reviews, really. I do them infrequently now, and I just do video stuff,
Nice.
podcast stuff, and all that sort of thing. But eventually, end goal, same as you, sort of journalism side of things. But I don't think we're allowed to talk about what we do in our day jobs. But we're both on the road.
industry, yeah.
We're doing pretty well. And we wouldn't be there without Push Square.
No,
That's
exactly
for damn
that.
sure. So, yeah, that's basically it. Push Square is a wonderful place if you want to hone your craft and that kind of
Definitely.
thing. But don't expect to be reviewing AAA titles off the bat because I'm fairly
Because
sure
Alex Stinton's got that covered.
Alex has got those, and I'm fairly sure Sammy still has some PlayStation mini codes for Haunts the House lying around. So look out for that, or Jetpack Joyride.
I love that game.
That was my first review as a
Really?
PlayStation Mini though, not as the PSN game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty good though.
I love that game.
That's what I did the video review of as well.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Anyway, good question, SKC Diamond. Next up. Oh god, here's another one we've got to pronounce. Hi, girl.
Hey go. One thing you'd like to change in the games industry?
The insidiously evil and backwards. What the hell?
That was
is
my
that?
knee.
That's not right.
That's not healthy at all.
Go and see a
Trying to move really
specialist.
slowly. It was just a gunshot from my kneecap.
The insidious practice of DLC plans. Don't like them. Even if they're technically not too anti-consumer, I really thoroughly dislike that. That whole hoo-ha with Fallout 4 Season Pass when they said, we're putting up the price next week, so make sure you buy it now. It's like, I don't know what I'm buying. And even then, it's still a game that I only bought, 2 months ago? And now you want me to put another 20 quid into it that I'm not going to see the end results of for another maybe year? don't like that at all. I really, really don't like that. And eventually, it'll work out in people's favour. You pay for season passes. Sometimes you get good stuff out of it. A lot of the times you do. But every single game, Dark Souls 3 is doing it now as a season pass.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I just don't. I see its appeal and I see why businesses would do it. But for me as a consumer, I really dislike that. If I see that, I think, so I've just paid 40 quid for your game. And you want me to put another, maybe up to £30 on top of that? It's outrageous. And then tell me that I won't be getting a good deal if I don't buy it now? What a ridiculous thing to do. It gets me wound up, mate.
I think the worst part of that is you're putting the money down, like you said, on something you don't know.
You don't always know. Sometimes they do tell you.
Yeah,
Fallout 4 have revealed what they're, Bethesda have told us what they're going to be doing with the money. But still, just that whole thing of making it seem like a good deal because we're going to charge you more soon.
Yeah.
As a way to really...
That was nefarious.
It was kind of like an artificial way to drum up excitement for their own season, but I didn't like that.
I still bought the season pass before it went up in price.
Did you?
Yeah, I'm not going to pay that much money for a season pass.
I don't even want to play their DLC now.
I really want to play
That's what it did to me. I don't want to play that DLC.
I'm looking forward to playing Automatron. Automatron.
It's out now.
Yeah, it is. I'm going to run home after this and play it.
Run home, Tarrant. Run home as fast as you can.
Going off what you said, to be fair, microtransactions.
Ugh.
I hate them.
Horse armour.
I hate them so much. And in fact, kind of focusing that hatred, pay to win elements. I despise it. So you can buy all the loot you can unlock in game. So I'd be playing a match with someone that has all the big guns because they've got 20 quid to drop because they don't have a brain. I've sat there and slaved in the game and only have half of those, and I'm getting a complete lesser experience because of that.
That tends to happen in free-to-play games, but games that aren't free-to-play where they still offer that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I seem to remember a couple of EA games doing it. I don't know if they still do, but it was if they, maybe it was even Battlefield actually, I don't know.
Yeah, if you choose, you can choose
if you don't have a lot of time, and you just want to, have fun and play,
give us some money.
You can give us some money, and we'll let you cheat. We will let you cheat.
Yeah, you're essentially paying for cheat codes.
I wouldn't mind that for the single player. That's fine. If you want to screw up your own experience, and all
but
power to you. But if you're going to screw up my
why?
experience as well, then you can get out of here with that.
Exactly, and it's just, I think free to play is the most bitter taste as well, because you reach a point, and then the game goes, you're going to take about 10 years.
You've got to wait 24 hours for that power to cool down. At some point, it just makes you, if you enjoy the game, you just want to pay a lump sum, kind of like for the way, I don't know if they still do it because I don't play many games on my iPhone anymore, but when you would just pay a nominal fee and they would get rid of adverts on it.
Yes.
Just here, take £10 and just stop with this nonsense and let me just play your game.
Yeah, if you got super invested in a game, it'd be good to be able to kind of pay it away kind of thing.
Now, Sammy Barker, editor-in-chief, also weighed in with a question. He says, most anticipated game of 2016?
This is a tough one.
I can answer it just without any hesitation at all.
You can go first.
Persona 5.
Okay.
I need that in and around my body.
just a bath of retail discs.
Just send me 20 and I will bathe in them. I'm so excited for Persona 5.
It's going to be rubbish.
You're rubbish. I need it, and I need a release date now, because we had 2015 and now we have, I think it's summer 2016.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I need more than that.
I think they might even put a question mark at the end of it.
2016? It's just a shrugging man.
Yeah, it's just like.
What are you looking forward to?
I'm really looking forward to Dark Souls 3.
It's very soon.
It's very soon.
I'm also very much looking forward to it, but if we can move beyond April.
Okay.
Is there anything for you?
Doom.
Doom,
hands down.
Doom.
I am so excited for Doom.
You want to cut some demons in the face?
I grew up playing that. I played it on the Game Boy Advance.
That explains a lot about you.
Yeah, well, insight to my upbringing there.
Incredibly well balanced.
I loved it. It's such an easy, fun, silly game to play. Quake as well. Quake 3 Arena I grew up playing. I used to, on a bring your son to work day, my dad used to chuck me in the corner with his PC. I used to install Quake 3 Arena on it. Again, that upbringing.
That's good. That's good. That's some great parenting.
So it's nice to see that they've remained quite honourable to the franchise. The snap map looks great. I love Forge in Halo. So to be able to kind of...
What is Halo?
I don't know. Apparently it's like...
Is it like Uncharted?
Yeah. I've never played it. I've heard stories. But like building a map, stuff like that, making my own environment to play in sounds really good. And it looks like they made a super functional method of doing that that's also quite intricate. It can go from like being really simple of snapping things to really, really intricate depending on how you want to play. And it looks so good. It's going to run at 1080p, 60 frames a second.
It's going to be tight.
It's going to be nice.
TITE tight.
I'm so excited.
Yeah. Anyway, those are all the questions we've got. We've got to wrap this thing up now.
Thank
you very much, everyone who sent in questions. Remember, pushsquare.com/forums. We're at the top of the online communities forums. There's a little thread there. And if we post something, you can subscribe to the thread, like Mr. Tarrant said earlier. Alternatively, on the front page on the right-hand side, about halfway down, it'll show you the most recently posted in forum posts. And if we're in there at all, that means something's happening. So
something's going down.
Something's going down in Chinatown. Is that how London people speak?
Pretty much.
Okay, nailed it. End of the show.
So coming up on pushsquare.com, we've got a Trackmania Turbo review, a UFC 2 review.
That's got CM Punk in it.
Who's that?
CM Punk's my favourite. He was a wrestler man and now he's a UFC man.
What's the United Fighting Championship? Ultimate. Okay, so there is a difference.
What?
Between
wrestling, things. Which is like a live stunt show in UFC where they literally just punch each other until someone can't punch back. Yeah.
I live under a rock.
You need to watch UFC. You like it.
Are we going to have a UFC date?
We can do.
Ooh, cheeky.
Play cards right.
Oh.
What else?
And also we have the Fallout 4 Automatron DLC review. Which that's all coming up on pushsquare.com soon.
And what website is that?
Pushsquare.com.
You spell that for me?
PUSH.
Think about that, didn't you?
Yeah, I really am.
What comes after Pushsquare? Where else can they find it?
You can also find Pushsquare on the Facebook. That's facebook.com/Pushsquare. We're also on Twitter, which is @Pushsquare.
Yes.
And you can find our podcast on iTunes if you just search for Pushsquare. If you could give us a review there, that'd be absolutely fantastic.
Yes.
Where else can they find us?
We're also on Stitcher now.
Oh, what's that?
Stitcher is a streaming service for podcasts. It's called Stitcher Radio. You can get an app on your phone. You can listen to it through your web browser. You can listen to it pretty much anywhere. We're all over the place. We are like a virus, unlike Alex Stinton, who obviously is a lovely man and not a disease.
We are probably a disease.
We are an illness. Now, Stitcher, you can actually review us on Stitcher, just like you can on iTunes, and it would really help if you did that. Tweet about us, Facebook about us, tell everyone about us, because the more you do that, the more listeners we get, and the more fake money we get, Ego points. Let's call them ego points. Get us all the ego points. You should also go over to our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Pushsquare. Now, Sammy's doing lots of stuff at the moment. He's doing some front of camera pieces, news updates, that kind of stuff. He's also doing little previews of things that he's played or read. He did a review of a book recently. And as we said earlier, Alex Stinton is doing lots of live streams at the moment. I'm doing sporadic videos, but mainly just making sure everything's okay and looking fine.
Lord Overseer.
Just make sure you go and subscribe there. youtube.com/Pushsquare. And same again with SoundCloud, which is actually where this MP3 is hosted. If you go to SoundCloud, you can search for us. Pushsquare. It's really hard to say.
Yeah.
Search for Pushsquare. Same with Stitcher. Same with iTunes. And if you like what you hear, tell your friends, please. Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
Sound about right? Just make sure you go to pushsquare.com for all the latest everything, because it's an amazing site. It's the best PlayStation website on the internet, and if anyone tells you it's not, they're lying to you, and you can punch them. That's a rule. Thanks, Ben.
Thanks, Ben.
Thank you for listening to the Push Square Podcast. For the latest PlayStation news, reviews, and features, visit www.pushsquare.com.